Okay, welcome back. This is part two of our last Let's Create a MacBook Virtual Machine. So I, I I ran into a little problem. It seems like the script, if we open up the script, it didn't. Oh, so this is the old script. So when it runs the script, it stops the services, it backs up the files into a backup folder. That's fine, that works okay. But when it comes to patching the python.py file, it doesn't recognize it as an internal external command. So we went ahead and troubleshooted the manage app execution aliases, and that doesn't seem to have a big effect on it or any issues on it. So I left it as is. The reason was we didn't have we didn't have a file that recognized a Python. So we needed to install the Python app, and we went ahead and we did that together. Then I noticed that it's not recognizing it. So after doing some research, we look at two different places here, and the two different places I wanted to look was in the add and remove program. So I went into the add and remove program, scrolled down all the way to our Python 64-bit app, and modified the app. The reason why it's not adding it's even if we repair it, it's still not going to make a difference. We need to add an individual feature, and it seemed like it didn't have that individual feature. So I've added all the optional features. And I also noticed that there was an issue with the variables, not calling the variables, the system variables. So when we go ahead and take a look at the system variables in the control panel, I'm going to open up the control panel. All right, guys, give me one sec. Give me 1 second. It says thinking. Um, so we look at the error here for not, and it's not recognizing Python, right? So what I did was I installed Python, but after installing it, I didn't reboot it. So it's always good to reboot and reboot the machine first. So upon rebooting the machine, it still didn't work. So I was like, okay, what's going on here? It recognizes the file, right? So it recognizes the file, as you can see the icon there for the PY, all the Python files. It recognizes the icon there. So as you see the icon, that means that it's installed. And I think it gets installed in the app data. So as we look for Python, uh, you know, it's a language. When we look into it, it is a programming language. It's just an easy to learn language that lets you work quickly and integrate systems more effectively. This is a totally different course. I'm not going to touch base too much on it, but we do need it to install. So we are going to install it for this instance because the command prompt based on the unlocker runs off of a batch file. So if we look at the batch file, it also picks up the Python script that was created. So this is the Python script, right? So this is the Python script that it takes, right? So we can edit this with idle Python and take a look and read that, you know, read that on your own time, or if you want to take a look at that, and you can read that in your own environment. So right here, we are creating, script using Python. For all you Python heads, you'll understand what this all means. I'm not going to touch base on too much. I'm not going to talk to you guys about this Python stuff because it's another course in advance. But as you can see, we're adding the tables, right, for the Apple in here. So you could see that it's adding the Apple um, tables so that when we open our when you open up our operating system for Workstation Pro, you'll note that it prints those versions and it edits the file, the SMC version files. and different addresses and keys and whatnot. So again, this is totally for you Python heads out there. Um, but if you guys want to take a look at it and read it, uh, what I normally do if I don't understand stuff nowadays, I Google it, or what I can do is copy and paste it and open this up in our chat GPT and ask it to explain it to me, you know, for basic information. So I'll open up my chat GPT and then I'll say, can you explain? Right. So this is free here. You'll have to sign in to chat GPT, but again, please explain what this these line of codes are from a Python script. And I'll paste it and we'll go ahead and we'll run that command and it'll explain to you. It's just designed for VMware files, as you can see, and likely to modify certain behaviors to the virtualization software, and that's our SMC, our system management controller. And as you can see, this lineup print will involve the addresses and keys associated to the SMC, which is our system management controller. And I'm going to copy that there and put that in our notes here as a good read, right? So I'm going to post that just below here. It's a new script. And this is V, Control V, and this talks about SMCs, what SMC is, and its functionalities. Again, you know, relaying all the patching and what the patching does. So this section of the Python script checks the differences between the SMC address and the two offset keys. And if that condition is met, it prints the corresponding table addresses, right? And then it has our RILA records, again, modifying those RILA records, file handling, path functioning, summary, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? Again, you could take that code, line of code, and you know, basically um, have you explain what all that means so that we have an idea of what all that means. Um, you know, that's what I would normally do. Again, I'm not a huge Python guru, but I know my basics, right? And you know, learning those basics are always good, especially when you're going out in that job field and you're being asked those questions. So again, the install win command, if you look at it from our perspective here, what happened was our variables were not set and we needed to install those variables. So because those variables were not set, there are two variables within here that we needed to set. And if they were not set, then it would not work. So what I did was, again, if I ran the code already, like if you look at my old code where I had the error and then based on what happened after it worked. So if you look at the differences here, you'll notice that the patching has been patched. It's been unzipped and it's running all those versions and those tables and adding those private keys and public keys and different keys and debug versions and giving all that information that it needs in order to get this to work, and runs all these exe files. So it runs the debug file, right? And it makes those changes based on the scripting itself. So again, you'll want to take a look at that and dissect it slowly, and this will give you all the flags from the DLL file and all the hexadecimal numbers and what those mean. Again, you'll have to Google that and ask what that means. And again, now what this is also trying to do is it'll try to get the tools from the package folder, and it'll increase the package folder and download the package folder. Um, when I ran it, I didn't have time to complete the full run. But again, if you want to do it, we can do it again. It's not a big deal. You just run it, run the administrator again, and then run that tool. And we'll wait for that tool to run. It gives it about a minute or so. That'll get the tools from the package folder, right? From the script itself. So if we look at the script, install command script, it'll take the get tools Python and it'll install the tools based on the Python unlocker.py. So if we look at our folder structure with that unlocker, it'll take the unlocker.py. And again, you can edit that with idle once you install it, and you can read that script and copy and paste it into ChatGPT if you don't understand anything. So in about 12 seconds, this should complete. I'm going to go ahead and try to copy it all, hopefully, by pause it. Try to pause it so that we have a copy of it. Okay. And it looks like this is going to extract it. So I'm going to, you'll see that it extracts it and then it'll run the services again. So that's good. And then once those services are run, it'll complete. And I'm going to add this here so that I have a copy of that. I'm going to save this as sample. This is a sample Python. And again, guys, my approach is totally different than other people's approach. I've seen many videos on this, and it just doesn't cut to the chase. It doesn't give you the full reason as to how to install it and explain to you why. They just install it for you and show you. It doesn't show you the full. So it misses a lot of information. This video, the second part again, was a prelude to my first part, where we were installing it without Python and without editing the variables. And I also want to show you where I edited those variables to make sure that it adds it. We don't have to manually add them ourselves. We can add that in the modification folder. I'll show you where that is in a second. So this is a sample. Right, so this is what it does here, and it extracts it into our app. So I'm gonna find this file here, and I want to take a look at the zip file. Give me 1 second. Um, copy, and it'll take the contents within the Darwin ISO in the archive. Okay, so let's take a look at. Um, and once that's done, it'll restart as it does. It stops the service. It'll obviously run the services again. So you'll see that it run the services again. It doesn't really echo the fact that it's finished, but again, it should tell us that it's finished. The script, it just stops it, but it'll say finished and then it'll close it automatically. But again, it's all up to the designer. I would have stopped it so that way I can see, or save this to a log file if you want to, and you know have this log file run in the script itself, a copy of that. So let's go ahead and copy this file path. I want to take a look at the file path. You should be able to now run it here. And there's your backup folder again, guys. So this is where the backup is, right? Before we extract it, it backs it up, which is a good thing. So we're going to go ahead and this is where it installs the zip files in the library. So I'll take the zip files. This will install based on the uh, Python cache. This is our path for Python cache, right? This is all compiled Python files, right? So PYCs, right? So that's not really um, too much of importance, but it's also good to know the outcome of what it's actually doing if you're interested. Um, so yeah, that's that. And again, if we look at the optional features, we're gonna click next. And as you can see, I think in my first option, I didn't add this option where add Python to environment variables. And without that, it didn't set the path that I wanted. And that's why, hence, it wasn't reading It wasn't recognizing this external command. So those environment variables are important, especially when you're running this on your machine. So you have to make sure that that's all set and whatever else it does. So if we look at the path, we can edit the path and we can take a look at all the paths that it created. So I'll just create that. And this will also create, we can browse those paths we want, right? You can edit the text and take a look at what this does and what it needs to do. So as you could see, that's done, and because of that, it worked. So we're now past that stage, and again, you need to add that, and then I want you to restart the computer, um, and I should add the environment variables after, and then you should be able to run it after that's done. So I'm going to cancel out of that. Just remember those two pieces of information. It also talked about uh, we also talk about the map manage app execution aliases where we can declare names used to run the app from command prompt. So when we want to make sure we turn these both on and not off. Okay, there's a lot of documentation saying that it needs to be turned off, and it worked when it's turned on. So I've now given you some examples of to which how these sample files should be, as you see here. Once the patch runs, it should run automatically, the patch, and then it should read the scripting keys um, for the SMC. And we talked about SMC being the system management controller functionality. Again, this is all modifying certain behaviors that's related to our software, virtualization software, right? And this is only designed for patching VMware files. So that script appears to use that functionality. Um, and we've talked about that. Um, I've used Chat GPT to kind of ask questions if I need it for the specific reading it. So that way it kind of helps me out and saves a lot of time and energy when I'm doing this kind of stuff. If you do want to learn Python, again, I'll copy this path here for tutorials. There's some tutorials on that. Um, but again, programmers, it's a different topic. We're creating a virtual machine here. Create that. I'm going to talk about Python. So we needed Python in order to install. It is important when we are installing it. So uh, know that where that stuff is. There's the exe file if we need to. So this is where the exe file is. We can create shortcuts for this, right? Um, and run that application this way. So this is the location as to where, and this is the version, as you could see. Give me a sec. That's where the location is, right? Um, and location, exe, right? So our exe folder is located uh, in our right, user, and this is in our app data. So you can also do this if you want app data, right? We can also cut this if we want, and just do the percentage sign, right? Which is a shortcut to app data, sort of what we use here. And we can do that and take this percentage, right? And then right click and right click and run. We can run with that and just right click. And this will run that. Then we can again check for hidden items within our app data. Um, we're going to our local, right? And then our local, we're going into programs. This is our Python. And again, same concept, app data will take the place of, right? So if we're looking at that, that takes the place of the app data there. Uh, and again, once we go there, we need to go to local, and then from roaming, we go back one local programs by button. So that's where the exe is. Um, so yeah, so that's it. I kind of took a sample of the completed one versus the last one where the errors were, and I noticed that the errors was because I didn't have Python installed and the variables, the environment variables weren't added. So again, when I'm looking at the scripts itself, you can open those scripts now with the edit, right? And you could take a look and read those if you want and run a chat GPT on this script. And that will explain every nick and cranny for you. um, you know, and then you can run it. You know, you can test the script and run it here. You can script that and just run that if you want. You know, we call this idle, so we can edit the file with idle, and that'll kind of help you with that. Um, so that's done. Let's open up VMware Workstation Pro. So I'm gonna go ahead and double click on the icon here. And you'll see a difference now where it says Apple, Mac OS. And hopefully by doing what we just did, should show you that now. So we weren't able to get that option, but we should be able to get the option now. Again, my methods are very different from other people's. I've seen so many people do this, and a lot of things were missed, or just cut, or mine's all unscripted, unedited, on the spot. So hopefully you guys are learning a little bit more. I haven't seen this yet in like 30, 40 videos that I've seen. Nobody talks about this. So hopefully you guys, like and subscribe this one. So I'm going to, again, choose I will install the operating system later. And there you go. There we have it. Our Apple Mac OS X version is available. And we are running based on my applications. So I'm going to see what version. I think it's 13. So I'm going to run. Go back to here, applications. Have that. I didn't put it here yet, so it's in here. It's in Mac OS. And this one is 13.0. This is the 22A380. So I went a little further down and I want to show you guys the updates. So we're going to do that together. So I'm going to, so it's Ventura 13. So this is 13. Uh, did we say it was? We go back to our diagrams here. Um, Zoom in. So that's 13, Mac OS 13. Mac OS 13 and click next. So I'm going to go ahead and just delete what was in the old one. This was just a template I needed. I'm going to go ahead and this file here. And I'm going to delete everything that was in there. Copy that. I'm going to copy that. and I'm going to create a new one. So I'm going to create a new virtual machine. I'm going to click next, next. Use the Mac OS, and we're going to use 13. I'm going to click next, right? And I'm going to change the path now. Right? I'm going to change the path to what I want it to be. Delete that path because that's the location I want it to be in. And this one's going to be today's date, right? And we're going to Control A, Control V, and I'm going to do today's date, right? I'm going to cancel that out, and that's going to be our name. Going to be our name, right? So our name is going to be SCB Mac VM01 Canadian Data Center, and today's date. So I'm going to go ahead and click next. I want to give it 150 GB. Recommended size is 80. I don't see any prerequisites. Let's see any machine stuff. Let's see Mac OS 13 prerequisites. Okay. And the prerequisites are compatible with these computers. So if you guys are using, and this is compatibility for Ventura, I'm going to copy that if you guys are using it. Doesn't matter what we're using here, but um, again, I designed my own. And I'm going to put this right here. Okay, prereqs. So we're going to look at the prerequisites here, and I'm going to put prerequisites for Mac OS Ventura. Right, so here's some great information on that and the compatibilities. Because of that, it is important. So if you guys are working with these actual pros, again, you can even click on here and identify that. You can identify that, which is kind of cool. Right, so this is another great link for identification. So I'm going to save this here as a good read. Right, and we're also going to um, identify the ProBook model. I'm going to put that in my notes. I want you guys to do the same thing. Okay. This is take out these 20%. Yeah, why does that? But and again, this is important to note because you want to know uh, and again, it is important to know, especially when you're identifying these specific things and designing. It's not just plug and play and go. It's knowing the background, it's knowing what's behind it, right? So when we're right, we've gone ahead and done all this already. So um, going to put this side by side here. I want to close this out over here. Put this side by side. Okay. So again, I've gone ahead and created a machine, basic machine. We're going to, like I said, we install that. We also, we talked about a few things here. We talked about, um, you know, uh, manage app execution aliases. We talked about environment variables and its advanced features, right? So we talked about using where we used system system.cpl. So we use that um, area for that, um, and add and remove programs, and add and remove programs, right? To modify Python app advanced features, right? So, it is important. It is important to know this stuff. Reboot your machines after you've installed all this, so that you know what's going on. Again, we can build this, using Oracle, or we can build this using Workstation Pro. We can build this using Hyper-V. We can build this using, Citrix. We can build this using uh, ESXi. You can build this using vSphere. So you can build this as many times as you want, even AWZ. You can build this using Linux, whatever you want. Again, it's totally up to you. I have videos on how to create them all. In this instance, we're going to be creating a MacBook as a virtual machine. So um, again, we right, when we create it, we're selecting that option. We're selecting 13. Ventura, we know, is 13 based on um, our documentation. So again, I know that because if I go to our documentation, it is known as 13 with Darwin number 22, and its code name is Ventura. So once that's done, I click next, and I'm going to browse to the path that I want it to be again. And I did that already. I guess I lost it. I think I closed it, but it's okay. So if I go here, I'm going to select Control A, copy, right? And I'm not sure, did I call it? Did I create it? No, I didn't create it. I'm going to create it again. No problem. So I'm going to create it today's. This was just a basic. Um, uh, so I'm going to go File, New Virtual Machine, Next, typical. I will install the operating system later. I'm going to click Next. And again, it's just going to be creating a blank hard disk for us. Perfect. That's what we want. And I'll give us that error. So as you can see now, the guest operating system says Mac OS X, which is what we want. Perfect. And we're going to select 13, right? Ventura. And I'm going to select the location here and paste that location, right? Because that's the location I want. And I'm going to change this to the 28th, which is today, right? And I'm going to copy this and name it. This is the name of my machine. Uh, okay. And I'm going to click next. I'm going to give it 150 GB. I just want it a small. It doesn't matter what it is. Actually, no, let's give it 200. This is going to be a single file. Next. The minimum is 80. Customize the hard disk now. Should be able to. I'm going to give it 16 GB. Just want this. I can give it 8 or 16, whatever, but this one I'm going to use 16 GB. And I'm going to give this more processors. So I'm going to give this about 8, right? 8 processors, 8 core processor, just because I want it to run efficiently when I'm installing the operating system. So I'm going to click close. And I want to make sure my NAT is still my NAT, and I want to give it an extra network card. So I'm going to give it 2 network cards. All right. And I'm going to give it, it's going to be, right. So my uh, physical disk is 200 GB. Again, it can be more. The more the merrier, right? I've made the mistake in giving it less just because it's a quick machine to make. But I know in my old environment where I had I should have given it 500 or a terabyte. It doesn't mean that I'm going to use it all, but again, it's good to have, right? Especially when I'm creating this, you never want to give yourself less than what you have, right? So this is our physical NIC, right? And this is going to be Ethernet 0, right? And paste. And this is going to be Ethernet 1, right? Our second NIC. And what we want to do is we want to see this in our cloud environment. And I think I've already explained it. I may have explained it already, but if we restore our our last right our last account, because when we do install Intune company portal, um, then you'll kind of see what I mean, right? So this, I'm going to open up my company portal. I mean my authenticator app on my phone, on my device. And it's going to ask me to input the number that's shown to sign in for this device. And I am trying to sign in with this number. I'm going to click yes. I'm going to authenticate that, um, you know, and should be able to now move forward with that. So same thing with this. I should now be able to authenticate quickly. I type in Entra, Microsoft.com. Yeah, it should log me in automatically now. Okay, so again, I know we talked about Mac enrollment, push certificates. It's not really a thing, big issue. You need to set up your push certificates. I don't need to show you this. You can download your CSRs, right? You can download your CSRs, you can add your Apple IDs, whatever you want to do. You can create the certificates here, and create different ones once you've signed in with your Apple account. Um, so So we talked about that. We talked about bootloader. Yeah, we talked about that. Oh my God. Okay. We talked about devices. All right, all devices and the differences between the Entra registered and joined. Right? What did both mean? As a BYOD is registered, and you know our Entra joined machines. Right? We also installed Python. Right? So we installed the latest release, which is 13.0. Perfect. There's also a 14.80 AO. It's all up to you if you want to install them. They come with the releases all the time, so the further you go down, right, the better it is. And this also has the 32-bit ARMS, ARM 64, right? Any downloads from Windows 7 and earlier from last year, and this goes down a couple years, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, back to 2021. It's got a lot of, it's even got the MSI installers for that too. So it's got a lot of stuff here. Again, uh, for Mac OS too, if you want to download those other platforms licenses, documentation on beginner's guide. I went through that a little bit with you. If you want to learn a little bit more, that's where you go. There's a wiki page for that. So again, not going to install that. I've already done that. We need to install the profile types and create those profile types for the specific profile. And in this instance, you know, we go home, go to devices. We chose Mac OS. We create those configuration profiles and compliance settings, right? And profiles, and then roll automatically. You can roll through bulk with Apple Configurator. It just takes a serial number with that. If right, you have to install that on a Mac device, or else it does not work on a server, preferably separate. You can have that connected and connect all your devices to that machine if you'd want. Um, Again, the different restrictions, limit restrictions, enrollment notifications, different types, right? So for iOS, iPad, you can create a MacBook uh, OS enrollment profile, right? And click next, and then we can choose device enrollment with or user enrollment with, right? So we can choose the device enrollment, right? So if you need to learn more between user enrollment and device enrollment, there's a learn more about that. Looks like it didn't. Right. Account driven versus right, best practices on that. You take that information with you. Um, Once that's done, you can prepare the employees for enrollment. That's on the physical device. You can also do with user. Again, it's totally up to you. You can try both profiles out and rename them. Um, I'm not going to do that right now. I want to go ahead and complete this. So I'm going to go ahead and again give it that network and that second physical NIC, right, with 200 GB. I should give it. We can give it whatever you want. I know in my last environments when I was testing my developers, I should have given it more. Um, it didn't recognize the shared folders, which was another issue. So that was creating a lot of big headaches for me. This was all done on the fly, but again, there's different ways of doing it, um, especially in a nested environment when you're working with multiple VMs within a VM, right? This we're also going to accelerate. This is another option I want you guys to try is to accelerate the 3D. I think I added that in my notes. Give me 1 second here. So yeah, we added that. Video memory should be 128. Video memory should be a 128. They say it's 8 GBs recommended, but in this instance, I'm gonna just give it 128 megabytes. Maximum amount of memory that can be used for graphics memory. I can give it more if I want. It looks like I can give it more. So I'll give it 8 GB, the full 8 GB. I want to see what happens. But it's saying to give it to this. We'll give it, for now, I'll just give it 120. I should give it more. 512, right? And give it, let's just give it a gig for now. Click close. And give me 1 second. Um, I'll be right back. So again, I've given up those settings. Again, um, I'm now going to finish it and complete this. This will create my machine. Um, the other settings are, again, um, you know, 16 GB. I can give it up to 20 CPU. I've given it 8 for now. You can give it 80 GB as minimum, and this is our minimum, right? You know, min. I've given it 200 GB just because I wanted to. And then we can also extend 3D, which is what we enabled. And then we're going to choose the storage disk file. You choose that, right? And that's, and then 3.0. So let's see what, right? We're going to give it 3.0, right? That's good. And I'm going to hit OK. And then there's also another option for our CD DVD. So this is where I'm going to browse the file. And I think I left it in here, Mac OS. And I'm going to download that file there. And I'm going to hit OK. Right. And once I hit OK, I should be able to now turn on the machine. So let's go ahead and do that. Power on the machine. See what happens now. And there we have it. There's our Apple. So we're on our Apple screen. Perfect. And this will now load. Great. And once that loads, we'll have to run two options. We'll have to format the drive and reformat the drive and make sure we add the right disk to the operating system. So once we're installing the operating system, that should automatically pick that up. Okay. And so we've gone ahead and done that for now. And there we have it. There's our English language. I'm going to click English. Right. And you can choose whatever language you want and click next. And we're now into the Mac operating system. So this is where we're going to repair and erase the disks using that first. So we need to repair or erase the disk. So we'll do that first and then continue. And then we'll go ahead and install the Ventura, right? So first option is to repair the disk, right? We're going to select our VMware virtual disk and we're going to erase it. So just remember, we're going to choose our internal VMware virtual SATA hard disk and we're going to erase that. Okay. So right now it's got 214.75. So I want to erase it. And in this one here, um, once we erase it, um, I think I give it a name, and I'm going to give it the name that I gave it, which was my first name, EM001. And this is the name um, of the disk that I wanted to give, right? And I'm going to give it C and D because I know that that's what that is. I'm going to leave the other options as format as APFS, right? Right? There's different types. There's MS-DOS. These are the different types. We're going to talk about that as well. I want you guys to know what each of those are in terms of formats, right? So that's very important to talk about as well. So we're gonna leave that format as is, and the scheme is gonna be the GUID partition map. We're not gonna touch anything. Leave it as is. We also have security options. We're not gonna touch that either. This is all good. And then we're just gonna click erase. So this will now go ahead and uh, download that. Uh, so once that's done, I click next. Um, and that should now give me the disk, right? And FI, that should now give me the proper disk, right? So once that's done, I should be okay now, and I should be able to choose install. So I'm going to click on choose install. There's my disk that I wanted, and I'm going to go back to, and again, you can check all these options here for disk utility and check the different snapshots, right? We can check the different snapshot locations here if we want, right? And add the different columns that we want. We can mount. We can um, add different APF volumes, restore, partition, erase, right? Right? We can also add the RAID assistant here. We can close that. Once we close that, we should now be able to choose the second option for recovery, right? So when we're selecting the second option, or we can run terminal here, right, within here, sort of like our Shift F10 option, right? So we can do that. Terminal. So I'm going to go ahead and click on install OS Ventura and then click continue. And this should go ahead and we should now be able to select and choose the disk and then continue that. There we go. So that's done. All right. So that's our next step. I'm going to click next. And I'm going to this image. I'm going to click continue. This will run it. All right. So you've read and agreed to the terms, and you're going to agree to that. And I'm going to select the disk itself within here, my total disk here, and I'm going to click continue. And it should run and install the application. So it should take about 18 to 20 minutes. So I'm going to pause it for now, and I'll be right back. Here's the installer log, guys. So this will help you read up on that and show you the errors only, right? For the installer log. Right, you can do all logs here if you want, and this will show you everything that you want. Um, right. So this will show you the logs as it's running. Anything here? Any issues that you see, you can kind of read up on later, and we can save these logs after, right, and filter, save them. So wherever you want to put them, right? Put them in the downloads folder for now. This will be our installer log. So when we open up our app, we can see our installer log for today. Save that. Detailed level, yeah, filter, whatever we want. So that's that. Should be another 12 minutes or so. Um, there. Be another 12 minutes or so. So I'm gonna go ahead and pause the video. Well, mute the video, so you guys can see this as it works, or you guys can scroll in. Uh, sorry, you could scroll further on. I think I shut it down, guys. My apologies. I'll show you guys again how to do it. No worries. So I'm gonna go ahead and reformat it. No problem. It looks like it's saying 29 minutes. Just wait for that to finish. Giving it, giving it 8 processors. Well, it's machine, like I said, it's creating it. It just takes a little bit of time. So there's not much we can do now. Um, but again, we can talk, like I said, we talked about the prerequisites, we talked about SMC, Python. You know, we need to download and install the Intune company portal. We could talk about Intune enrollment, and how the deployment guide enrollment is when we talk about device enrollments within Entra tenant and in within our Intune tenant and the different um, different policies and devices that are enrolled for personal BYOD or Oregon devices, which are corporate devices, right? And our different MDM certificate pushes within um, our device, our new and existing devices within Entra, and then our devices that are in Intune after the MDM certificate. Again, policies are also there. We also have security rules, protection, application protection, device configuration, compliance policies, conditional access, and more. This is all part of the Intune enrollment process. We should also be able to install company portal app. Uh, we get this far. Hopefully, I can show you guys, uh, you know, how to do that. We can do this directly. And then while the company portal and startup package downloads, we open the file, open the installer when it's ready. And then on the introduction page, we can, click through the different options and try to install that there. We can also get the company portal app for macOS on the device. So again, this company portal app, I'm sure I spoke about this already. It's an app that lets us monitor, sync, add, and remove your device from management, and it allows you to install apps and updates on your devices. Right? Or some, all or some devices, all or some. Your devices, right? So we know that already. Again, uh, when we're in our Intune, write that down. But when we're in our enrollment for device onboarding, right? And when we look at our automatic enrollment for all or some, right? We can define our user scopes and our IP terms for Windows information protection, right, for all or some. And again, we can take a look at all these services and what these enrollment endpoints of the MDM services are. So when we talk about all or some, that's where that comes from. So simply on the Mac OS device, all we need to do is through the enrollment, and this is usually done through ABM, through Apple Business Manager, right? We can enroll the devices this way. We just click on this link, and this will sign us into our uh, company portal, believe it or not, right? So we can sign our users to company portal, right? I don't want to do it now. I want to show you guys how to do that. little bit later on. Hopefully I'll have a snapshot of this at one point, and be able to revert back to those snapshots and show you guys the different points and options available. It's just taking a little bit of time, unfortunately. There's nothing I can do. This will make the video a little bit longer, but you just need to, you know, either can pass through it or read into it, and hopefully not miss any option, any good notes or things that I mentioned, right? So know how to do this, explain yourself in an interview. Nobody's perfect. Do your best. Practice this on your own time. Do 3 or 4 of these machines at once to create snapshots, revert back to old snapshots, try different options. I've given you different options to try. I've given you options on how to read the Python scripts for the unlocker. This is the only way that I know how to do it, right, within a Windows platform, using um, Workstation Pro 16. This also works on 17, right? So ensure that you have the right versions of it. Um, I will post again. I'll do my best and post most of these links for you guys. You guys can also capture them if you'd like. Pause it and try to type it in yourself. It all depends on what you want to do with it. Um, so again, go to code, right, and then download the zip file. Or you can open up with CLI, right, command line interface, or you can open up with your GitHub desktop if you have one already. It looks like the latest version. There's 2 releases to this version. Um, Again, there's 3.0.0 that was released a couple of years ago, 2019. So our latest version here is the updated with number 14 to retrieve tools. So this is a right click on the win install command and run as admin. It's pretty straightforward. Take a look at the source code. Again, this project here by projects here by this gentleman. He was unable to extract it, what's in here. Yeah, there you go. So that looks like it's the latest version for it. What did I download? I just downloaded the zip, the master zip. Okay, that's the same thing. So if I go back to his code here, let's go back one more. Back to his unlocker. Code and download the zip. So that's just a map. Master file, doesn't matter. Okay, so I'm going to delete this. All right, so that's the latest number, 3.0.5. We can also open it and check the text file, I think. Should be able to check the text file if you want to see that. Go to the downloads. I think it's in here. This will give us the readme.txt. Should give us the version also in here, 4.3 or version 3.0. Different fixes that it allows to do here. And this will explain everything. Just remember the limitations and the prerequisites. And I know in our case we needed Python, so I downloaded instead of 2.7, I downloaded the latest version, and that our Windows Unlocker has a packaged version of script using PyInstaller. So does not require Python to be installed, but I think you do need it. It didn't work for me without it, so um, that's how I fixed it. Um, Again, it says that it needs the PyInstaller, but I don't know. I don't think it worked for me. So I downloaded it and I was able to download the Pi version, which is what I did. Right. So it needs that version to work. So it's fixed my issue, and then the um, environment variables. So that's a little bit of that, and we're back to our machine here. It's still loading. It looks like it takes some time. Right back. I just rebooted here, just rerunning it again. This takes time. Looks like it does take time. So be prepared for that. Prepare yourself for that installation. Next, see, there we go. So here you go. This is the actual internal. We're going to choose our, so if you're in Europe, Brazil, US, pick your country, region. Yeah. And we're going to click continue. Right, so we're going to leave everything as is. We can then customize those settings if we want, and then click continue. Only up to you. We are not going to set up the accessibility. We don't need to now. We'll just say not now. We want to get in there. How do we want to connect? Yeah, we want to connect to the local Ethernet. Click yes. And we're going to be using DHCP. We're not connecting to a P or manually. We can do manually. We're going to do with a manual address if we're using uh, dynamic DHCP or IPAM. So we're just going to use DHCP for now. I think we gave it NAT, so we're going to do that, and then we can make the changes later on. So I'm going to leave the changes as is, and I'm going to click continue. We don't have any optional. I think we should be okay now. Okay, that's fine. I'm just going to click continue. So this is our data privacy area. We can learn more. Just in this case, we can read that. Leave it here for a couple seconds for you guys to take a look at it, and then we'll just hit continue. Um, we do not want to migrate anything. So this is an actual option, what's called a migration assistant. So if we have any information on another Mac or Windows PC, we can transfer it to this Mac. Yeah, we can do that through Time Machine or another startup disk, right? So it's up to you. Right now, we're not going to do that. We're just going to click not now. If you did, you would click continue. Read our terms and conditions. So, and agree to those. We're going to create a computer name. So in this instance, we are going to give it a name, right? And this will be the name of our home folder. We're going to give it a password. I just want to call it scadmin. I want to keep my uniform here. This will be the name. I'm going to and then I'm going to click continue. This will go ahead and create our account. Creating the account. We're going to either enable the max or I don't want to enable it. Again, that's just for maps and stuff. I don't need it right now. I can always add that later on and read up on the location services and click continue. Don't use it. And I'm going to continue. So this is where I'm going to select my time zone. Um, right, and I select my time zone based on location. And this isn't UTC, but it's um, I think I'm just going to leave this option as is. Looks like we're not able to change it. It's grayed out. I'm not sure why. Oh, maybe because of the location services. We can change this manually later. But I'm just gonna leave this as is. So even if I enable it, see what happens. Continue. I can always disable it. And that'll give me more options. I don't want to share anything. I'm going to uncheck that and I'm going to click continue. Screen time. Okay, we'll set that up later. Don't need to know that. I'm going to choose my look. I'll just choose the light look. Doesn't matter. All right. And this will show us the appearance of the docs, menus, buttons, adjust the window setting. And there you go. There you have it. Um, so it is 3 hour difference here. So I'm going to change the look. So there you have it. It's installed. Takes up a lot of space, so you're gonna have to use it up. Probably using up a lot of CPU. Performance. Okay, so that looks good. Not too much. It is lagging a little bit, so um, Just gonna wait for this spinning wheel here to run. You know what? Let's see if we can just reset it. I'm just gonna restart the computer. Restart it. Needs to be restarted. So here's my Macintosh machine, guys. Again, this is it being created. Um, you know, it took a little bit of time, but we got it. In terms of how I designed it and how it's being designed. This is one of the best ways to do it. In my instance, and a lot of videos I've seen, um, I've seen a lot of things missed, a lot of things skipped, edited. This is all unscripted, unedited. Go through my ups and downs and how to create this machine. So again, I'm going to stop this section part two video, and I'm going to create another video of me installing um, the Intune portal. Uh, so again, I'm try to install that and try to uh, enroll the device. So I want to thank you guys again for uh, joining this session, guys. I really appreciate your time. I'm just going to wait for this to finish, and then I'm going to end the video once I'm logged back in. You know, I should be now able to, hopefully, hopefully I should be able to sign in, right? Sign in and enter. My computer restarted because of a problem. Okay, that's fine. Ignore that. And I wanted to change the time. Will it let me? So let's change the time. Um, System settings. Network. This is self-assigned IP. I'm using DHCP. I give it, no, I give it NAT settings and NAT. So it should pick it up. Um, it's a time and date. Time and date. So I'm gonna set the time and date here. And this is set automatically. This is going to be set using my current location. And I'm going to press my key. Okay. Enter. I'm gonna set it. Don't want the time zone. I want to use different time zone. So I can set the time zone here. Set the time zone. See what happens. So I have to set this up different. So right now we're at 221. So I'm gonna go up another couple hours. Yeah, and then just set it manually for now. That's fine. Um, it's not letting me. Okay. It's the default time server for Apple. Anyway, so that's good. Um, Let's check to see if we can install the app now. So let's go to the about here. About this Mac. So this is 16 GB RAM, serial number, Ventura, more info. So this will tell us about the Mac itself, which is what we want, right? So there's our Mac. Our Mac is now installed. And I think I'm going to end it here for now. I want to thank you guys for joining. Watch my next video. On my next video, I'm going to talk about installing the company portal app. And we're going to try to do the updates and whatnot. So before I end this off, I'm going to run, I'm going to capture snapshot. And this was today. And today's date. All right. So that's installed. There was no work done to this. So I'm going to take the snapshot. Once the snapshot is done, it's good. And let's see if I can install the software. So I have to download VMware. I don't really have to download the software. VMware tools. It looks like, yeah. So I'll create another video for that. VMware tools, and we'll install that. So for now, I'm just gonna leave it as is. This is a plain machine with the OS and the system settings all done there. So if I want to change between the different services and change between the system settings and different views that I want here, I just need to click on these and it'll bring me to that information that I want. All right. So I'm an administrator of this machine. I've clicked done here. Should be good to go. Okay. Well, thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate your time. This is Sal Cosentino again here from In Production by Inc. 2. I've tried and finally installed that Mac OS Ventura version 13 on this machine. On my hypervisor VMware Workstation Pro 16 on Windows 10 desktop. So again, uh, any questions or comments, please feel free to add me to the WhatsApp group. It is a brand new group, so you won't find that many users on there, but it's okay. It's just started. This is a community that I built. I want to build and continue to build. Uh, Again, please add me or message me privately if you have any questions while following along in the video. If there's any concerns or anything that you missed, again, let me know. And please like and subscribe this video. Subscribe to my channel because I do have a lot of videos coming out. A lot of great ideas, a lot of innovative ideas, and hopefully you guys can go ahead and follow along and learn from me. And again, uh, more you learn, the more you're going to succeed in life. And these questions do come along in interviews, so prepare these questions. That way, this is a good learning tool to learn that, right? In terms of whatever hands-on experience that you have in the past. So again, thank you very much, and I'll talk to you guys soon.